Beyond the Badge is brought to you by the Edina Crime Prevention Fund.
When there's an incident or an issue in the community and police and fire and EMS respond, the choices that are available are either that person stays in the community, that person is taken into custody by the police, or they're transported to a hospital by EMS or fire. That's not always the solution or the best solution. And what alternative response does, it kind of blends everything together to find the right solution for the right person at the right time. The way we respond is we monitor the police talk groups of the police channels and the fire channels for Richfield and Edina, since we're a joint venture.
911.
We're listening to the radio traffic.
Or how are you communicating with her?
When we hear calls like there's a person in crisis or a welfare check or some of the more nebulous calls that may not really check the box of this is going to be an alternative response call, it might not, we can read the notes and say this sounds like something that we should start going to. So we'll assign ourselves on those calls. Our team is a paramedic and a social worker. Our hours are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
I've been with Edina for 10 years, doing, fire calls, EMS mostly, paramedic, ambulance calls.
I have my master's in social work.
Emergency calls in general, we're typically seeing people oftentimes on their worst day.
There are just things that I know about that maybe law enforcement or medical professionals don't know about. So it's a really good way to be able to share that experience, but also the knowledge and make sure that people are best served and best connected.
The pilot is scheduled to run through the end of 2025, but that can be extended. It can be augmented for several reasons, which is why we're doing a pilot. We want to be able to capture enough data to understand what we're doing and if it works or if it's making a difference.
A couple calls that kind of come to mind where we've stayed hours after our officers left just to try and get this person to a safe place or come up with a safety plan that works for them. But officers don't have that time. They don't have that ability to stay on scene for hours.
This is what we do every day, so we have a better grasp of what's happening to them emotionally and physically.
I like to tell people when they ask about this is like, these problems don't develop over 30 minutes. They develop over days or weeks, so sometimes it'll take extra time to come up with a solution. If things were just as easy as give me 30 minutes, very few people would be in crisis.
It will help sustain itself because of what it brings to public safety, to law enforcement, to fire and EMS, and to the community. It brings something that supports both sides of this equation, which hasn't been done before, because there just wasn't anything to do that.
And maybe you don't need anything that day. Maybe you just need, somebody to talk to a little bit, and then we can follow up the next day. Or, hey, you have a therapist appointment and your ride fell through and you're having a panic attack about that. We can give you a ride there.
I've worked in fire and EMS for most of my adult life. So I feel like I have a good understanding of how the system works, where the system is challenged, where there's missing pieces that could be added to the system to make it more robust, or at least meet the needs better of the communities that it serves. The public safety system is just, the demands on it are increasing every year. Sometimes people's only solution is 911 because it's the only one they know, and we can help them find others. The biggest impact that alternative response is making right now is the flexibility. We're able to spend the time on scene with a client that they need to make a difference. That's not been available before.
I do think we do make a difference. It may not be super obvious, but it's like if you take a problem away, do you know that problem's there?
I think every community needs some form of this, and what that means to every community is different and unique to that community. I hope it grows. I hope it adapts to the changing needs of the community. I hope that in the future, this is something that is not only great to have, but I foresee it becoming a part of public safety that is a requisite.